So I'm very happy that Vinco, who represents that particular political risk and the credit insurance community that last year alone did $2.5 trillion worth of cover for the trading system, is here with us to share his views. The last time we met, Vinco, we were having a coffee at the OR Tambo in Johannesburg, and I know that you're personally passionate about the opportunities in Africa, and I know that you have members across the continent. So my question to you really is, what is Bern Union's view on digital trade and credit and political risk insurance more broadly in Africa? And I think, as many of the people that have spoken so far have mentioned, we can't talk about any single trade-related subject in isolation. Whether it's a regulatory issue, whether it's an ecosystem-related issue. So I'd really just like to get your views on what you see as the bottlenecks as well for financing and the insurance of cross-border trade in the continent, and how that can be resolved at the perhaps African Continental Free Trade Area level, as well as with the African business community, the African private sector. Over to you, Vinco.
Okay, I want to focus on two areas. One area is what others have already focused on, that's the impact of COVID-19. And the other is credit insurance, in particular credit insurance in Africa and trade finance in Africa. What are the biggest bottlenecks? First, the response of the credit insurance market to the COVID. Better now. As you've said, about 13% of all cross-border trade in the world is covered by credit insurance, and that is an amount of $2.5 trillion. And this cover is provided by official export credit agencies, that's national agencies, by multilaterals, and by private sector insurers. Private sector insurers comprise about half of the market. The other half is mainly ECAs and a little bit multilateral. As the WTO, and thanks to Frederick, has researched, about 80 to 90% of all cross-border trade in the world has some sort of financing involved. It can be trade financing, but more often it is working capital liquidity. So what have ECAs, and mainly export credit agencies, the official insurers, done very swiftly over the last 2 months to help exporters? First is to maintain capacity. That is insurance capacity both to exporters and to the banks financing these exporters. The capacity in the private insurance market is decreasing, but not by much, but it is decreasing, especially for new business. Existing business typically is not touched, is not affected by any credit limit withdrawals or otherwise. But for new business, the thing is different. So ECAs, the official insurers, have stepped in quite massively, and they've done that in various ways. One is to insure exporters directly. Some ECAs can do that because they already have the infrastructure in place to be able to do that. Not all ECAs were able to do that, and then there is another, even better solution, and that is that ECAs are reinsuring private sector insurers. This way, there is no disruption in the cover provided to exporters and their financing banks. And the third way is that if private insurers reduce the cover, but not cancel the cover altogether, that a public insurer can top up the cover. This is both the case for trade finance insurance, but the more pressing problem at the moment is not trade receivables that are not being paid. That is an issue, but much more pressing is liquidity for exporters or working capital. So what have ECAs done? They have very quickly set up facilities to cover banks providing liquidity to exporters. And lastly, it started in China, but has now spread to other ECAs, so-called import cover, especially for medical equipment and everything that is needed during the COVID-19 pandemic, from mouth caps to gloves, etc. So these medical supplies need to be imported. Typically now in this market, you need to pay them in advance. The importer runs the risk that he has paid the advance payment, doesn't get the goods, and you can insure that risk now as well. So the credit insurance market has reacted swiftly and quite robustly. There are also other areas where the markets and also the Bern Union, representing the credit insurance market, has reacted. There were some regulatory initiatives that have some unintended consequences for the availability of trade finance and liquidity finance to exporters. This is with good intentions, stricter regulation to banks, require them to provision for default. Now, under the current definition, especially in the European Union, default is already a restructuring. So if an exporter allows his importer to restructure the debt, that's already considered a restructuring. That's fine for exporters and importers, but if a bank is financing that, then the bank will have to provision more than if the financing is current. So the Bern Union, together with some other trade associations representing the banking sector, have written a letter to the European Commission and other European authorities to address this. This is not confined or limited to Europe, because the European banks finance a lot of business also outside Europe. So this is now being picked up by the European Commission. So also other ways where we work together, we align our measures with WTO, again, Frederick, and also with ICC, in particular the ICC Banking Commission, where we discuss how to combat the negative impact of the pandemic on the availability of trade finance and liquidity to exporters. That's for the industry response to COVID-19. Now, going back to an issue which was already a problem in Africa for a long time. It's very good that there are initiatives to digitize, to cut administrative burden, etc. That's all very much needed, but for credit insurers, for banks, for factor companies, that's not the biggest issue. They are already highly digitalized. For instance, in trade credit insurance, most cover is done online and even sometimes within minutes. The biggest issue in Africa is buyer information. There is a lack of buyer information as such, and if there is buyer information, it is very often not reliable. And that's a big issue for both insurers and banks and factor companies, because they underwrite risk on the basis of buyer information. And if that buyer information is lacking, the deal will not be financed or covered, or a bank guarantee is required, which increases the transaction price. That's the single biggest issue for trade financiers and insurers. It's not all over Africa. There are some countries in Africa where this issue is much less, such as South Africa, Botswana, Morocco. Some other markets are also improving. And it doesn't matter here whether that buyer information is online or on paper. If it is not there, it's simply not working. Some African institutions are working on buyer information, such as Afrexim Bank, trying to develop a depository of buyer information, but it's all still in the very embryonic phase. What is needed, I think, to improve this is better legislation, better regulation, better supervision, better accounting, not just the accounting standard, but the actual accounting, and more a culture of openness. So legislation, and to legislate that companies need to be open about their accounts, need to file their accounts, regulation to control this, supervision to check this, and better accountants. There are great accountancy firms in Africa, but not that many, and they are mainly concentrated in a few areas working for the largest corporate. But here we also want to support the SME segment. This is not directly related to digitization, but digitization could help. Together with FCI, Factoring Chain International, the Bern Union has taken some initiatives to improve buyer information. But here, the initiative needs to be expanded in order for banks and insurers to expand their business. Now, it is also the case that in Africa, some local banks have quite good information on the customers. So the idea is to work more together with local banks. But this cannot solve all problems. There's also an issue of imports into Africa that are limited due to this lack of buyer information. So I would ask everyone to also think about how buyer information in Africa can be made available more widely. And that is actually my message. Thank you for giving me this platform with peer Secretary Generals and DDG. This for trade in Africa, for our members, the insurers, this is currently the biggest issue. Thanks.
Doing business in Africa. You can't afford to be without Africa Investor.